Good. You're good.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? We are live as part of the Casey Biz Boss show, and we're doing this to our motivational speaker page as part of the Denia Azur show, as part of the Rodney Smith show. We have all come together to talk about everything that's going on this week. And we know it is a lot in the news, it's a lot to digest. And we want to cover some of these topics. Now, funny story is, so I used to do a lot of lives in the morning at the same time every day, and Rodney would always come in back when I was in Chicago, and we would talk about everything from African American issues, voter suppression, and all kinds of things. And all of this has come back again, and here we are. So we just put together a joint broadcast so we could talk about all of this. So first of all, I would love for you guys to share this for us, because we want to talk about the black vote. The black vote. What is it, Danielle? I can't see the whole title. The black vote is the game.
Yes, what is the game?
It is the game. It's not the game changer. It is
the game in 2020. Absolutely.
So we want to talk about that. So is Rodney here yet? Rodney back?
Let me check and see. Let me look and see real quick. Let me see. What
I see
like? Child.
his name.
I see his name. Rodney. You want to try? Hold on. We want to try.
So I'll keep going, and you can. Yeah. So first of all, do me a favor, guys. Not only do I want you guys to share, I want you guys to share this broadcast, but I also want you to make your own, start your own watch party, because that will help this get more visibility, because then everyone that is following you will also be notified that we're on. So if you guys can do that, that would be super fantabulous. If you would also, I'm just sharing this to my.
I think he's back. Let's see. Rodney, can you hear us?
There he is. So.
Hey, Candy.
Hey, Rodney.
Okay, now we got it. Yeah.
Now we got the gang's all here. So we titled this. Rodney and I went through all these different names of black vote this, and we came up with at the last minute, the black vote is the game in 2020, not the game changer. It is the game. So I'm going to introduce myself, and then I want Rodney to introduce himself and Danielle. So I'm Candy Conda, Hall of Famer, motivational speaker, ghostwriter, brand specialist. I could go on and on and on, and we'd be here all day. So now I want Rodney to introduce himself, Danielle, and then we're going to start right in, and we want you guys to share this out for
us. Rodney, go ahead.
Rodney?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rodney Smith. Just here for Candy.
So you're looking for a spot, because you're still kind of
trying to figure out where's the best Wi-Fi to get right now.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is Rodney. Did you get some internet yet? I think Rodney's looking for a good space to broadcast from.
It's all good. It's all good. No worries. No worries.
So I'm just going to, again, I'm going to just share this out one more time, Danielle, to one of my other groups. And I'll share this out to Vegas BizBot. So Rodney, we can't hear you, dear. He must be having internet issues.
Right.
Rodney, talk.
It was working. It was working earlier.
Yep, I'm trying to find the spot because
it's all good. No worries. We understand.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now. Yes, sir.
Now. If you stay right there, we can hear you.
Gotta love modern technology sometimes.
Yep. Okay, guys. So Danielle, we're gonna get started and let Rodney chime in when he gets.
Absolutely.
We'll wait on voter suppression, because that was Rodney's big thing. So say something, Rodney.
He's walking around.
Okay. So first of all, we're going to talk about, let's just start with Minneapolis. Because I feel like we're going to have more than enough time to talk about everything else. Right. So we all know that in the last 24 hours, George Floyd has been killed by Minneapolis police officers.
Right.
And some people are calling it murder. Some people are calling for all 4 men to be arrested. Well, they've already been fired, but they haven't been arrested. Right. So now everyone's calling for them to be arrested.
Yep.
And so I watched a really interesting video this morning from Revolt TV, and it had Van Latham, who's an activist, and Amy Schumer, Jamil Hill. And they were all talking about, how you doing, Rodney? Any luck yet? So they were all talking about, what do we do next? And so there's an interesting statement that was made on there. And I can't see the comments. I gotta see if I can get to the comments somewhere. Hold on. So there was an interesting statement that was made. And so someone said, well, the gentleman that is the Christian Cooper guy had said that he didn't think, in his case, he didn't think that anything should have happened to Amy Cooper, no relation. And, you know, Christian Cooper came on and said he accepted her apology and all that. So Van Latham said, well, he says that African-American people, we've just become apologists for everything, and that we are the most forgiving. And he was basically saying that whatever she got, she deserved to get. Right. So they were going back and forth on that comment. And I wanted to know what you think about that. Are we at this point of we're so forgiving that, you know, he was basically saying, let her lose her job. Let her, it's like the Me Too movement. I mean, there's got to be consequences. And, you know, let her endure her consequences and then reflect, and then let's come back and revisit this. But it is okay that what she did had consequences. I can't even find the video to comment on it, which is weird.
Yeah, it is. You know, and that's the problem, is that it's not okay. None of this is okay. The fact that situation, so what I need people to understand is that what happened with the whole Amy Cooper situation was so much bigger than just the fact that she was choking the dog, because that was the main comment that I saw. Yes, we understand that's why she no longer has the dog, but it was more the fact of what if the cops had come out and we had this conversation around the other guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm confused on why people don't understand how important this is. I'm confused on why people don't understand why this is a problem.
Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on one second, Rodney, can you hear us yet? Daniel, do you think we should do this on the Life After Sports page? You think it'll make a difference?
We can try.
I think it'll be confusing for Rodney, but I mean, I don't know. We're sharing out. He's having issues. I don't know. Should we just do it on? I mean, he is struggling.
Okay.
Let's just keep going for now.
Yeah. Okay. What was I gonna say?
Go ahead.
I'll say train of thought. I just talked to a friend that lives in Minneapolis, so I'm kind of freaking out. But I think that issue could have easily been the same thing that happened in Central Park. That's what people don't understand.
True.
Had he not had the videotape of her doing what she did, she could have easily lied and said that she was actually being threatened, this and the third, and it would have been just like the scary movie, White Woman in Trouble. So the fact that we're having this conversation about, oh, well, you know, she got in trouble. Absolutely. Yeah, lose her damn job. She got a 6-figure salary for that.
Yeah. So that was just an interesting point that he made. And I like that, you know, the fact that I was like, man, I was in the middle. It was kind of like, I was feeling like, okay, are we too, you know, are we just like, you know, we too desensitized at this point against everything? We just don't care. Let's fry everybody.
Right.
Or, you know, or yeah, should she have, you know, I think part of the problem also is the fact that I think that Rodney, can you hear us yet? Say something. Rodney's just there. It looks like he's frozen.
I think he's frozen. I'm come off for a second. And then let's see. I'll come off for a second, and then he comes back in.
Yeah, we have people coming in. It's slow.
But again, so here my biggest thing when it comes to StreamYard, when it comes to this kind of stuff, when I don't worry about the numbers live, because there's gonna be a replay, because people are gonna understand that this is the problem that we're having, not just in Minneapolis, where they're talking about doing stuff in LA, they're talking about doing stuff in Houston.
Well, they did. LA shut the 101 freeway down last night.
Yeah,
they shut the 101 freeway down. So
mind you, so George Floyd was from Houston. Houston's bracing themselves right now because they don't know how that's gonna work. People are calling for the same thing in Chicago. I'm just praying they don't, because we have worked so damn hard to get this crazy mess off of us. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, the problem is, the fact of the matter is the mayor of Minneapolis is saying, why aren't these cops locked up? Period. If the mayor is saying this, I have so many questions on on what's going on there, because the mayor saying they need to be locked up. What are we waiting for?
Right.
The mayor said it. Like, what are we talking about here?
So first of all, I'm so excited. I am actually excited that the Minneapolis, I took a screenshot of it. The University of Minnesota,
Yep.
Here is their letter. They said, this came from the office of the president of the University of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. It says, dear faculties and staff, our hearts are broken after watching the appalling video capturing the actions of Minneapolis Police Department officers against George Floyd, leading to his tragic death. It says we're, grief-stricken, on and on and on. Here's the meat. Today, I am announcing 2 immediate changes regarding our relationship with MPD, Minneapolis Police Department. First, I've directed Senior Vice President Brian Burnett to no longer contract the Minneapolis Police Department for additional enforcement support needed for large events such as football games, concerts, and ceremonies. What happened to Rodney? Any luck yet?
Not as of yet. He was doing fine before this started, and I don't know what happened.
Then it says, second, I have directed University Police Chief Matt Clark to no longer use the Minneapolis Police Department when specialized services are needed for university events such as K-9 explosive detection units. Mm-hmm. And she goes on and on. But what's most important here is she's taking a stand. She is taking a stand. She's saying, we're canceling a multi-million-dollar contract with you because you've done something wrong. And if others are doing the same thing, are willing to do the same thing, we really can make a change in the country.
Yep.
So that's deep right there. It's super deep. It's like, we're not going to take this sitting down. We're going to do something. And I hope that the football teams and the basketball teams, the NBA, NFL, hockey, and all these other teams around the country, not just in Minneapolis. Looks like Rodney's trying to come back.
Yes, I am in. Can you hear me now?
Yes, the heir apparent.
Wow, had to switch phones.
It's all good, no worries.
So thank you for having me on the show, Candy. First of all, I appreciate that. Excuse me for walking around, but I had to go find another phone in my house. So you're getting the grand tour.
Okay. Okay. That's what we can see. I was looking at Jimmy's house the other day. We saw all kinds of good stuff.
I can imagine. So where were you?
So we were talking about George Floyd. And so two things that we were talking about. I just read a letter from the Minneapolis, the University of Minnesota made two big stances. Number one, they've canceled their multi-million-dollar contract with MPD for all their special events, their football games, or whatever. So I read the letter from the University of Minnesota president, how, you know, she's canceled all of the off-duty, the contracts that they have with MPD for off-duty officers. And she's also for the K-9 unit effective immediately as a result of what happened with George Floyd. So that's one thing we were talking about. You can weigh in on that. The second thing was that I was listening to an activist, Van Latham, this morning, and he was saying that, you know, that Christian Cooper, and we're going to talk about Christian later, came on to say that he didn't think that everything was happening with Amy Cooper should be happening. You know, he doesn't really condone her getting fired and all the negative social media attention. And Van Latham was saying that we're so apologetic and forgiving that at the Me Too movement, they didn't do that. They let them have the discourse that they were getting. And, you know, that if they don't suffer some consequence, they don't understand. So those are the 2 points we were just discussing. Right. Chime in.
Well, we'll take the last one first, about the firing. I believe Amy Cooper was the young lady in Central Park with her unleashed dog, and a bird watcher, which happened to be a black gentleman, asked her to leash her dog. Sounds reasonable to me.
Right.
And of course, because it is on social media, and someone or somehow her employer found it and terminated her. And so in general, I do think that people's personal lives.
Oh, damn it. You fell off. Who back?
It was just getting good.
Right. It's all good. He'll be back. He's back. Hold on, y'all. He's back.
Yeah, in general, I think people's personal lives should be their personal lives. But once you've gone public with your personal life, now you're subject to the things that happen when you're living a public life. And what she was trying to do was basically do things that got black people lynched, black men lynched.
Yes.
And when I was a child, growing up in the rural Jim Crow South, Emmett Till was something that was constantly on my mind and that we were warned about because they didn't want us to become another Emmett Till. And when I was watching the video, all I could think of, and it just kept coming in my, wow, she's trying to do an Emmett Till. She's trying to, and this is in 2020, not 1950.
Right.
Because if the police come, you don't know whether you're going to have, here, let's take you, Mr. Murderer from Mother Emanuel Church, and, oh, you're hungry? Let's go get some chicken. We don't know if we're going to get that treatment. Oh, or Mr. Scary Black Man, let me put my knee on the back of your neck. And even though you're telling me you can't breathe and you stop breathing, I'm going to keep my knee on your neck while I'm playing pocket pool. And, oh, wow, why did you die on me? Well, it's terrible. This guy died on me. Like it's his fault. So because you don't know which one of those you're going to get, you know, you have a certain, you know, she got what she deserved.
Facts.
And here's what gets me with the Amy Cooper versus Christian Cooper, no relation, by the way. Here's what gets me with the whole thing. I could have even gotten by with the initial part of what she was doing. She took me out when she changed and she put that voice inflection. Oh my God, I mean, that part is the part, that's the part Emmett Till moment right there. Yeah. That's the part when they, you know, that's it right there. When she did that whole screaming thing, that did it. That right there changed the whole narrative of the conversation to 911. That said, I got a gun in my head. That says I'm getting raped. That says somebody really threatening my life. I am in danger. That, that took it to a whole different level when she did that screaming thing. And so, yes, she has apologized, as she should. But I think that if she really is, this is what Amy Schumer said this morning. Amy Schumer said she was on this Revolt TV show with Jamil Hill and Van Lathan and Sean King and, and Jackson, the former NBA player. Here's what Amy Schumer said. It's not enough for us as white people to say we're sorry. We got to do something, even if it is uncomfortable. And she said, make sure that every project that I am on, has women of color on there. It has to have 50% or more of women and women of color. She's like, my communications team, got to have women of color. My projects, women of color, she said they should be at the top of everything because this is how we change the narrative. And we need to do that all across. And I also think we have been screaming for police reform. I hate to see what happened in Minneapolis. We're going to talk about that. We've been screaming for police reform forever and ever and ever. They've taken every sensitivity class that they can take. But at the end of the day,
they should change.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. That just like they were saying, because the wheels are turning to where they're supposed to be turning. It's about the prisons and the populating the prisons and making sure that these people have, there's money coming from all these other places. And if that doesn't change, we're going to keep on seeing the same thing. Yeah. But I think Amy Cooper should start some kind of show that don't tell us how many black friends you got. Don't do that. Start a movement amongst your white friends to make a difference, to help bury these black kids that are getting shot out here.
Right.
Candy, I think you hit the nail on the head, because something I've been doing on my page is basically I've been telling white people, racism is not a black issue. It impacts us adversely, but it's not like we're committing racism against ourselves. There is someone, white people, who are racist towards us that causes us to act. We respond to them. So what I basically put on my page is a call to white people, the ones who said they have black friends and, they would never do anything like that, and these things are horrible. I said, well, talk to your people. Get your people in line. How about we do that? When you see something, and what I asked them is, I say, how many times do you
something? Not say something.
Do something.
Well, how many times are they in a room where we're not there and they hear things that are derogatory towards us? Not just derogatory in that it's inflammatory, but where it's actually something that would inflict harm on us. Right. And do they say anything? Do they do anything? So what I've encouraged them to do is to start saying something, start speaking up, and don't just go, oh, that's terrible, but you have to go more, because it could not exist without their tacit approval, even if it means they don't show disapproval. So they have to do more.
Danielle, put up the comments when you get a chance. Put up a few of them. So like I said, what I liked about what Van said, it hit me right here, because he was like, I want to think I'm a good person, but I also think that, a lot of people were like, oh my God, Amy shouldn't have got fired. That was too far. No, it wasn't too far. That's what he's saying. He said it wasn't too far. She needed to experience that, to experience the pain of how we felt. Yes, you lost a six-figure job, and that's a shame. But you also got to understand it. You didn't lose your job for you. You lost it for every other Karen and Becky and Amy that has done something very similar at a barbecue or at some kid who, it was without a permit, or at some baseball game, and you call the cops because somebody was sitting in the seat that you always sit in.
Yeah.
Well, Candy, one of the things that stood out for me, and the actual Emmett Till moment for me, was when I don't know whether she said, I think she said African-American man. And she said that 2 or 3 times, almost as if that was a button she was pushing.
Yeah.
In other words, I'm being threatened by the
Mhm.
big black man. You
Mhm.
need to come and rescue this white pristine damsel. That was that aha moment. Because when I've interviewed former white racists who were females, what they have shared with me is that they know almost instinctively
What to say?
that if they say black man and they use that voice that you talked about, that sense of urgency, they know that their white male counterparts will jump on that horse and come a running to rescue them, the damsel in distress.
Right.
So that was code for me. So when people say, well, it's terrible, well, she had a great job. Well, Emmett Till could have had a great life that he never got to live, and that was permanent. She can get another job.
Right. And guess what? She will get another job. And that's what Van Lathan was saying. Van Lathan was saying, so Danielle, can you not put the comments up?
I have the comments only comments that I can put up are the ones that I see from the motivational speaker page and from
you know what? Those pages are on my
yeah, I can't.
I started a watch page.
Don't take the watch page down because it's not gonna show up on here.
Okay. So Demi, can you put those pages in the main page? I did that because people, I was trying to get people that was the only way.
You can't. Yeah, when you're doing so, like the one thing with StreamYard is that you can't see any of those if it's not directly in like either the YouTube or the Facebook, either one, whatever one. I can't see anything.
Okay, so well, hopefully they'll come in the main page. Okay. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can see. Okay.
And and the watch party, and then some to come here, because like I said,
it's hard to invite people from this page. I don't know why it's like that. Where is Rodney at, man? Dang. Rodney just keep disappearing. He needed a new phone. He needed a new phone. So back to where we were. Here's the thing. I'm not a mean person, but I guess what? I do believe that Amy will get a new job. She'll be okay.
Yeah,
it's not me. I'm not against her. Nothing, none of that, but she will get a new job. And we have got to, like I said, we don't have to be hard-hearted about it, but we also have to be diligent about right and wrong. And she was wrong. She did apologize, and now I think she needs to do something different. She needs to do something meaningful with all of that. She needs to gather up all of the people that are probably saying, oh, what you did wasn't so bad type of thing or something. And then she needs to start a movement or something. And then I think she needs to publicly get on NBC or wherever and say, not only was I wrong, that what I did could have resulted, because at first she said, oh, I was scared. So, okay, guess what? The two of you guys are alone. You're a woman. Taking all the rest of the factors away, you have the right to be scared, but you didn't have the right. If you're going to call 111, be honest about why you're calling. The rest of that just didn't need to happen. Okay.
Okay, he's back. Hold on. There you go.
Hey, different phone, finger touched the wrong thing, and then I was lost after that.
It's all good. No worries. You're good. You're good.
So we were wrapping up the whole Amy and Christian thing. So Amy Cooper, right. So the next thing that I want to talk about, and my daughter and I got into this deep conversation about this. Dang, Rodney.
He needs to do this on his laptop.
No, Rodney is the new Teddy Riley.
I swear.
Teddy struggled through that versus battle.
It's all good. No, he sure did. Okay, so I know what it is. You're doing this on your phone, right? Rodney. You're doing this on your phone? You can't touch anything else. Like if you're doing it from your phone, you can't go and like you have to literally not do anything else but stay on the broadcast. Otherwise, it will cut off.
Okay, yeah, I see.
You can't do nothing.
Yeah.
You can't ask for a text message, nothing. It will cut off every time.
Okay, well, let's see how long it lasts this time. I'm focused on you ladies. Man, I got 2 women. Oh, did I say that? Go ahead.
Ooh, no, he did.
So now we're gonna switch, and I need your undivided attention because this is important. This is a Rodney question. So my daughter and I got into this deep conversation the other day about Charlamagne the God and Joe Biden. Did you see the interview, a part of it?
Yes.
Okay. So my daughter was like, she's a millennial, and she is also a broadcaster. And she came in very strong with, yes, Joe Biden can't take us for granted. And I saw part of some people in your broadcast saying the same thing. Joe Biden's got to earn the black vote. So here's what I told my daughter. She's like, Mom, you sound like you work for Joe Biden. I said, let me tell you something. We have got to learn to play the long game.
Right.
This is what our problem is. She's like, aren't you upset about that? I said, not only am I not upset, I don't care. I understand Charlamagne is trying to look for a soundbite. He was being friendly. I knew this before Joe Biden came on and said that. My daughter yesterday was like, how did you know that he was going to say that? I said, because I saw what happened. Charlamagne was being friendly, super friendly, joking around. Joe Biden got comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he was right, but he got comfortable in the moment. No communications team is around. He's at home in his basement by himself.
Right.
He's thinking he comfortable. He's thinking we bros, and he makes a mistake and says, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And basically, all of us older or seasoned, mature people understood what that meant. It didn't mean I'm taking the black vote for granted. Not really. It really meant like Trump is so racist or says so many things that are out of control. Y'all gotta at least give me that much credit.
Right.
And he wasn't saying, that you aren't a black person. And so, my daughter and I went rounds about this online together and in person and on Twitter. We've been arguing on Twitter. And so finally, she kind of, I said, and I just want to say this one last thing, and I want y'all to weigh in. We got to play the long game. I don't care about this miscellaneous statement. The Republicans, they wanted to put all those Republican judges in. So they dealt with 8 years of Obama. They were pissed off. Yeah. They were mad. They didn't like Obama, but they knew that the game was, we're going to stay in long enough. We're going to deal with 8 years of Obama, but we're going to get these Republican judges in. We're going to get this Republican House in here. And that's what we're going to do while y'all are over here loving Obama. And we got to think the same way. We got to not use all these little distractions. We got to look at the big picture here.
Right.
That was my point. And Demi Lobo is back. Demi, put the information about T.I. back up again. Thank you. Go ahead, Rodney. You first, then Danielle.
So, first of all, I do believe as Black people, we do need to push the folks who are trying to get our vote. We do need to push them towards doing the things that we need. So I don't have a problem with that. But we also have to tell them what it is that we need. Because if we don't tell them what it is that we need, then we're leaving it up to them to somehow divine what it is from their perspective of whiteness of what us Black people need. Now, sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. Well, when they don't, if we're not, after the fact, it's too late. So that's why when we were doing the Black Leadership Summit here before COVID-19 hit, that was to get us all on one page so that we could actually have an agenda to share with the politicians. To your point about the long game, what I think about, Candy, was you remember reading about the Berlin Conference in school? And you got all of these European powers that were fighting each other, right? Spanish fighting the Portuguese, English fighting the French, right? Belgium fighting everybody. But they came together so that they could split the spoils of Africa. They
Right.
stopped fighting each other just like that because they saw greater value in, hey, let's stop fighting. Let's go down to Africa. There's a bunch of wealth there. Instead of us fighting each other, there's enough for all of us. And that's what they did. Then they went to Africa, they colonized it, raped and pillaged, right? They did that because there was something of greater value to them. Right now, what should be of greater value to us is survival, living.
Right.
The guy that's in the office now, he's drowning us. There's a guy on the shore that's willing to throw us a life preserve. Now, maybe we don't like him, but he's throwing us a life preserve that will allow us to fight another day instead of drowning with the guy that we have. I'm going with a life preserver because if I'm dead, I have no fight in me, right? So
that's true.
But at the same token, yes, we should push Biden. But I would ask those people, have they read Biden's Black Plan? Have they read it? Because he actually does have one. Maybe it's not sufficient. Well, if it's not sufficient, then okay, go line by line and say, instead of this, it should be a that. And then offer it to him.
Yeah.
Right. Jimmy, can you re-put the information about T.I. back in the chat? Because that was in my own watch party. Put that back in for me. We want to share that. I agree with you. And like I said, you know, I go back to the judges. Look at them. They got all those judges in there, Brett Kavanaugh and all that. They blocked Merrick Garland when Obama was in. And then, you know, now, like I said, they still have their own. They got all the Republicans in the Senate.
Yes.
And they're Republican judges. And basically, so Demi, now tell us what that is. Tell us what, because we can't see what the post is. So you said, what is it? T.I. is having a boycott. And I saw somebody sent me a post today about a blackout in July. Is it the same thing?
No, it's actually two different things. The blackout is the usual don't buy for one day in July so that we show them our buying power. Of course, that typically doesn't work because we buy up the day before, the day after, so they still get the same money. So, but the other one is, I think it's T.I., Ice Cube,
July 7th.
Puffy, and somebody else, where they're talking about we're not going to vote for Biden if he doesn't do this, that, and the other. And
no, Demi says no spending of any money on July 7th.
Right. Okay, so that's the blackout. But the blackouts historically haven't worked because, Candy, do you care whether you get my check on the 20th, the 21st, or the 22nd?
No, I don't.
You got my check.
Right.
You have the money. So, or what do people do? We're going to boycott buying gas on whatever day. So we go buy gas the day before, or we go buy gas the day after. It didn't change anything because they still got the money.
Right.
If in order for things like that to be effective, it would be, instead of going to this gas station, we're going to go to the Black-owned service station, everybody. And that's what we're going to go to for now. Of course, in Las Vegas, there is not a single Black-owned service station. So they know you cannot boycott for long because eventually you need gas.
Right. Well, here's my thing. So I think that we should all pay attention to these boycotts and we can participate. But I agree, it's got to be it's got to be something that is going to be enough for them to feel it. Now, I just saw that they were talking about Target in Minneapolis, and we'll talk about George Floyd, but I want to talk about a couple of other things before we talk about that, because that's going to consume the conversation. But they were talking about Target is the headquarters, Minneapolis is the headquarters. So they looted that Target, and they're saying that they want to get Target's attention. You know, I don't know that that's going to help at all. But I do want to talk about Ahmaud Arbery, then voter suppression, and then come back to Minneapolis. So Ahmaud Arbery, the update as we know it today is, number one, they've charged all 3 people. So William Roddy Smith, his lawyer came on CNN the other day and said that, well, he provided the video and, he wasn't really a part of it, kind of, sort of, but he's also in jail now. And they're upset because they said the way the Georgia system is set up, they may not go to court or get a court date for a year. So they're upset about that. But my thing with Ahmaud Arbery, my biggest issue is that there was so many other people that went in and out of that house. So how did you, why did you guys decide that this was a person you were going to zero in on? And the fact that all 3 of y'all did box him in, and you did. And if you were trying to scare him or teach him a lesson or keep him out of your neighborhood, you didn't have to load the gun. You could have had a gun that was unloaded. That would have scared me. If I see a shotgun, if it's unloaded, I'm still scared. So there was a lot of other ways. You guys could have did a citizen arrest, call the police in. And then, of course, we know that the police were in on it, too. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on, so the Ahmaud Arbery's mom, as the latest update, is calling for the death penalty for these guys.
Yeah.
So what do you guys?
The whole scenario that you just laid out, Candy, is to me a lot of excuses on why they had a right to accost Arbery. Right. And I kind of reject all of that because this is supposedly a free country. There's no restrictions on walking or running or jogging in that community. They lied and said that there had been multiple robberies, so they were on the lookout and that he was the guy they suspected. Well, there was no multiple robberies when you go and talk to look at the rap sheet for that period. There was only one incident, if you can even call it an incident, and that was somebody walked up to a porch or something, didn't even steal nothing, and turned around and walked away. So maybe they got the wrong address, don't know. Right. So the first thing that gets me is that they lied from the very beginning. Well, if you're lying, that means you're covering up something. Well, what are they covering up? Oh, by the way, we find out when you see more of the tape that the Roddy guy blocks him in. Well, and you also find out that there's much more of the tape than he released, at least 4 minutes. Now, Candy, I don't know how often you out there jogging, but when you're jogging and you got people chasing you in a truck, analogous to somebody on a horse running after you, you running as fast as you can because you know you're trying to save your life. So they ran this brother, chased him for at least 4 minutes. We don't know if it was longer, but for at least 4 minutes, blocked his escape. And then when he tries to go around, the dad jumps out of the truck with a shotgun. If I see somebody blocking me in, somebody chasing me, and then I go around them and they jump out with a shotgun, the only logical conclusion is that they are after me and to do me no good, to do me harm.
Exactly.
And in that case, for the man to still be sitting there filming, he didn't get on and call 911 or 311 or whatever their number is there. He was filming the whole time. I think it was a premeditated. I talked about Emmett Till before. This was the same thing as a modern day lynching. Other than using horses, they use trucks, and other than using a rope, they use a shotgun. Same thing.
Facts.
So here, and I know the other day you brought up Breanna Taylor. She got, I think, lost in all of this. Yeah, I think
that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, we need to mention Breanna Taylor. She was in, what city is that? Was it St. Louis? No,
I think it was in I want to say it was in the Southeast someplace.
Hold on, let me look.
And Breanna was a EMT.
She had been an EMT. She was working for the hospitals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they shot it. Did they ever say why they came? It was just a mistaken address or something?
No, they were issuing a no-knock warrant.
Right.
And it's a very that phrase "no knock" is very important to this case, because what they're doing is there's a suspicion of a suspect, and because of the nature of this suspect, we need to approach this suspect without them knowing that we're here.
Right.
So basically,
Right.
we're going to
Crazy.
sneak on this suspect,
Right.
right?
But what were they no knocking for, though? They still, even though they got a no knock warrant, they had to have suspicion of something. What was it? Was it for her? Was it her boyfriend?
No, they never said what it was for. At least let me take it. I never read what it was for. I just read they had a no-knock warrant for a suspect at that address, which turned out to be the wrong address.
Right.
And so, Candy, this right here actually touches on a couple of issues, or at least a few. One of them is that the Supreme Court has ruled that citizens have a right to protect and defend themselves from the police.
Mm-hmm.
That is a right in accordance with the Supreme Court. These people issued a no-knock warrant, which means the occupants of the house, as they said, were asleep. Mm-hmm. There's somebody trying to break into my house.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I grab my gun because my girl is there and I need to protect her as well as myself and my property.
Right.
Right.
They don't try to break in, they break in. Well, once they have breached my threshold, the castle doctrine kicks in, a right to protect your castle. He thinking some people are breaking into my house because the key phrase, no knock warrant, meaning we don't identify that we are the police. We just coming into your house. So he had people just coming into his castle, and he did what any man would do. That's protect his girl, protect his home and his own life. They somehow shot his girl, Breanna Taylor, and then to add more injury to the murder is they charged him.
Try for it, yeah. Crazy.
So
what alternate universe are we living in?
Exactly.
Let me say, a lot of people have mixed reviews with Shaun King, but I just love the way that he and the team that he's put together, the ACLU, the ACLU. I know Demi said she didn't even know about Breanna Taylor. Yeah. The ACLU, what is it? Lee Emmerich, is that his name? Lee Merritt. The attorney Merritt, Shaun King, they put together that power team, the ultimate dream team of activism, and they get on it. The people that follow, they get on top of it. As soon as he gets a video or something and he starts investigating, he sinks his teeth in. And he was actually responsible for getting the boyfriend released, actually, his team. Yeah. And so who's stealing money, Demi?
So she's talking about George Floyd, and what the claim is that he might have had a counterfeit $20 bill. That's where this whole crap happened.
Right. So we're gonna we're gonna come back to George Floyd in a minute. So before we talk about that, we first started this with talking about the mail-in Shaun King. Yeah, I don't know, Demi. I haven't been able.
Oh, wait a minute. What?
Yes, they're saying the Shaun King.
I sent you the link if you want to go on.
No, we're talking about actually Shaun King. Shaun King, there.
Oh shit, Kenny's thing went out. Demi, did you want to come on? Because I sent you the link in Messenger. So I didn't even know about Shaun King stealing money. What the damn?
Wait a minute, what is it about Shaun King?
Stealing money or something. Child, hold on. I didn't even see that part. Lord have mercy. This is insane.
Is that an allegation by his enemy?
I don't know. I'm listening, looking more into it. I haven't even heard it. I had not heard nothing about it. Period. So I'm trying to figure out what that is even about.
Because people like Shaun King are always going to be targets.
Of course.
What the powers that be know that they can smear you with feces, right?
So what's happening?
And after they smear you with the feces, even if you are able to wipe it off, you still smell. And they've smelled you up. In other words, they've made you reprobate to a portion of your base. So whether he's able to successfully defend himself against that allegation, if it's false, there's still going to be some people who will always have it in their mind that I think he probably stole that money.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so I want to go back to, we're talking about the voter suppression, and the title of this is, guys, the Black vote is the game in 2020. And the reason why we titled that, we went through several titles, is because we are in a position right now, I think, to make sure that we, everything that we want to do, we're in a position right now to push it. However, I agree with what Rodney said a long time ago, and that is, we also don't want to lose sight of, what did you call it, Rodney? We're talking about Joe Biden. What did you?
What
was that little tag you said? That Kara, you said you called Joe Biden you said, well, the bottom line is, I forgot what you called him, but
the guy with the life preserver.
Yeah, I said
the life preserver.
Yeah, there's a guy trying to drown us, and there's another guy on the shore throwing us a life preserver. We're gonna depend on, the guy who's trying to drown us.
Right. And the bottom line is this: it doesn't mean that the boat or the life preserver that they're trying to send us is perfect. It don't mean it doesn't have holes in it, right? It doesn't mean that it's a perfect boat. Right. It doesn't mean, it's kind of like you're drowning and you got the person in the White House giving you one preserver over here, and somebody that you didn't really like a lot, but you don't hate them over here. It's like, you got to adjust the position, that you got to make a decision. And sometimes you got to take the lesser of two evils. Not saying that you take fighting without a fight, but you also have to just understand, do you want to drown, period? That's the question.
Right.
Do you want to drown? You want to get in a boat,
Yeah, because
I'm sure there's a better analogy, a more eloquent one, but
no, actually, Candy, the way you look at, there's 100,000 American citizens who are no longer with us. That if the right decisions would have been made, at least half of them probably would still be here, right? And so this president has, through his actions and inactions, have led to more deaths on American soil than all the terrorist attacks by homegrown or international terrorists combined. More people have died than in the whole long Vietnam War. The only time there's been this many people to die on American soil from a single situation has been since the Civil War. The Civil War.
The Civil War, that's right. All the wars together, there hasn't been this many people died.
So that's huge.
That's really huge. And I think that I always say, remember in November, because, we have got to look at, and we don't have enough time on this show. We can't look at all the mistakes that were made. And I still go back to February 23rd. I was in Chicago. Danielle, we were doing our event, me, Danielle, Demi, doing NBA All-Star Week. We didn't even know this was brewing. Yeah. We barely made it. We barely pulled off our event, and we didn't even know it. Yeah. All the money we spent on that event could have blew up in flames.
Yeah.
It would have just been, well, that was a nice idea y'all had. If they would, had they, announced at that point what's going on. So the voter suppression, I saw you were talking about that the other day, right on your other broadcast. I want to talk about mail-in ballots, because mail-in ballots are going, I got a mail-in ballot last week from Vegas for the judges. I'm still trying to figure out who to I don't know any of these judges, not a one.
I got you.
I was like, Rodney, I need some help, because I don't want to throw this ballot in the mail, in the garbage. But my point is, or just close my eyes and check it off.
Yeah.
We're facing the same thing happening. We got to watch what's going on with this mail-in ballot and the voter suppression in all of the states.
Yeah.
The voter suppression is going to increase. We have our reading club on Wednesday nights, and we're reading Before the Mayflower. And we were talking about the voter suppression during Reconstruction and right after Reconstruction.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like amazing, because the same things that they did back then it looks like they're trying to do today, which is why history is so important and you have to learn from it. Because when he sent those militiamen to those state capitals and they showed up with their guns and their flak vests and their multiple magazines, that was making a statement. That statement was, we are here. We will do whatever he says. And if we need to go to the polls to make sure that there's nobody doing any illegal stuff, we're going to be to the polls. Historically, we know that that's one of the main forms of voter suppression of Black people, is that you had armed people, used to be called the Ku Klux Klan, that would be there, oftentimes with horses and guns. Didn't always, sometimes they shot people, sometimes they didn't, but it was the threat. It was the threat.
And I think that they should, Governor Whitmer, she broached this subject. I think they should make, in all places where there's business going on, public business, courthouses, there should be no assault weapons allowed. I think they should work on that. I think that you should not have to go to work between people with assault weapons. I don't care in any government building. I think they should push that law.
I thought that's the weird part. Like, I'm like,
you would have thought it was, right?
No, my biggest thing is that, like, I get stopped for having my jewelry tools, but y'all can have whole freaking assault rifles. I'm confused by these things. Like, what do you mean you're sitting up there like we get dinged for having little things, having keys, having a freaking phone camera, having a camera.
Right, you can't take your phone charger.
Weapon, no.
Yeah, you can't take your phone charger. When I went to the courthouse once before, I couldn't take my phone charger. I couldn't take all kinds of stuff. And then they got the nerve to have these lockers. I'm like, I'm not getting ready to put all this stuff in my locker. So they broke in my car and got it all.
Right. But even beyond that, let's go back to the Capitol. You can't even have a freaking sign in the Capitol. You can't have a sign. You can't even have a sign in City Hall. How in the world are we not able to have basic things, but you can have a whole assault rifle? I'm confused on how this is possible, and I don't get it. It's a situation where it's like, oh well, maybe they maybe it's because they have the guns. No, it's because they're white. Because I'm gonna tell you for a fact, if there was Black folks doing the same thing, there would have been a goddamn bloodbath. That's the problem that we have right now. That's why people are so frustrated right now. We have because the reason that was going on right now is because people are tired. People are tired. People are done. I was talking to my friend that lives in Minneapolis, and she was telling me, she's like, this is a calm freaking space. We don't turn up like this. We've never done this before, but we are tired. And I'm only tonight on my broadcast, I'm in a whole different situation because I'm trying to be as calm as I can because it's Candy's broadcast and I know she's
right. We know, like they.
This is a problem. This is a huge problem. I'm nervous for it was so crazy. It's like I got a call like 2:00 this morning. Like, yo, they're burning down Minneapolis. They're talking about doing it in Houston. They're talking about restarting up the LA riots. They're talking about doing it in Chicago. This is a problem. We spend way too much time, energy, and money trying to get this crazy cyberback mentality off of us, and they're trying to bring it right back. No, this is an issue.
So Rodney, what do you think about the assault weapons in the Capitol and stuff like that? Do you think that should be allowed?
I think it would be difficult to prevent it simply because the Second Amendment allows people to, in that state, to open carry. So what they would have to do is they would have to cancel the open carry, or they would have to expend a lot of political capital and say, do like Ronald Reagan did when the Black Panthers went up to Sacramento with their guns, because that's really when the whole Second Amendment thing kicked off. The Second Amendment was a very little known and very little used amendment until the Black Panthers went to the Capitol in California, in Sacramento, and Ronald Reagan got afraid, scared, and that's when they started putting more restrictions on weapons associated with Black people, though. Not associated with white people.
Of course not.
Associated with Black people.
Like, had this whole situation been reversed and there was the Panthers that went up there and did the same thing, there wouldn't have been no question. I would have been a whole bunch of RIPs, whole bunch of new hashtags, hashtag insert that black person's name here. That's what we consider. That's what we're consistently having to have the conversation. We're sitting here looking at the title for this specific video. We're sitting here trying to figure out what names to put in, and we're running out of names. We're running out of hashtags. We're running out of freaking t-shirts. This is a problem. But you want to sit there and say, well, Biden did XYZ. Well, the dude that's in office right now, actually, we have so much evidence of what he's done, what he's currently done. Like I said, 100,000 people are dead because he thought it was a joke.
Yeah,
100,000 people.
Actually, he said it was a Democratic hoax. If we're just gonna, so let's talk about Minneapolis and George Floyd as our last topic, and then. So I do want to ask you guys. So before I even say that, they're floating around, I guess, 5 shortlist women for Joe Biden's vice president, and I would like to know, who do you guys pick? Who's your number 1 and 2 pick? So far, I have heard Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren. Hold on. Let me just give you the name and then tell me. Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar. I just heard this morning Val Demings, which I did not know that. I heard that. And then what's the girl from Georgia? Stacey Abrams. Now those are the 5 that I've heard. There may be some more, but I heard that was basically the short list. Governor Whitmer from where is she from? Michigan. She said she didn't have time or whatever. So what do you guys think? Rodney, who do you think and why? Who's your top 2?
Well, my bottom everything is Kamala Harris. So we can just take her off the list right off the bat. I would say of the list that you gave, Val Demings would probably be the best for him to help him win Florida. Because we know that Florida is that pivotal state that typically whoever wins Florida wins the election. So because Joe Biden is from Scranton, right? And Scranton has a lot of things in common with the industrial Midwest. Joe is your working guy, Joe. So he doesn't need Amy Klobuchar to get him more working guy, white male votes. But what he does need is he needs someone to help him get Florida. And none of those other folks have the ability to do that like someone from Florida. Val Demings was a police chief, so she covers a very important base of people that could be used against him, that can actually help him get votes. She knows the area. She's well-spoken. She served on the impeachment committee. She seems to be smart.
She was the impeachment. What was her title? Impeachment manager, actually.
She was one of them. So I think that for political purposes, to help him win Florida, but also it would be a Black woman, and Black women, Black people have voted for Democrats. Black people have voted for Joe Biden, but since he's going for a woman, Black women have carried the water for a long time. And so it would be a great, hey, you guys think I'm a racist. You didn't like what I said, but look at this. Your first African-American female.
So when that happened, I told my daughter, because he made that big mistake, he is going to have to take along Kamala Harris or Val Demings.
Val Demings.
I don't know though. Val Demings. But so I hate to break this to you though, Rodney. I love me some Val Demings. She is always on point. She always knows what to say. I love her. I love Stacey. Stacey, to me, does not have the national presence and I don't think she has the national experience behind her yet in terms of foreign affairs and things of that nature. Now, they said today, somebody said that Elizabeth Warren was actually also a good choice for him to bring along the women. And of course, I campaigned here for Elizabeth, but I don't know if Kamala's out of the race because she had such a big following nationally and internationally. He's got to look at that.
He needs to win. Kamala brings him California. He's going to win California anyway. She doesn't add
Why don't
anything.
you like her though? Why don't you like her?
Her record with black people in California. She's not very well loved, especially by black men and those people that she. For Biden, he's going to win California. He doesn't need Kamala Harris to help him win California. He does need someone to help him win Florida. So Val Demings it's a female, a black woman.
But she was police. She's got the same issue, I think, when it comes to law enforcement. She's probably got that same, that same situation that she was in law enforcement. There's probably some people that don't like her also. But anyway, we'll see. But I think the top three are Kamala, Val Demings, and Elizabeth Warren. I think the top two, I didn't even hear about Val Demings until today. I just heard that on the news because her husband was on. And I was like, Val Demings, and I love me some Val Demings. She's super smart. She is super smart. I love her. She was on point with every single question. She's got, she's got the military background. She's got the policing background. I think she would be a good choice, but I'm not ruling out Kamala either. I think
what does she bring that? Okay, so what does Kamala bring that Val Demings doesn't bring?
So you want me to tell you, people like my daughter. My daughter, she just put in the and it's a great point. She just put in the title right here in the chat room, Kamala. Why? Why did she put that? She's a millennial. Kamala Harris had a really big presence on the presidential on her tour. A lot of people know her, and it's unfortunate, Rodney, that a lot of people do things on name recognition, on people they like, on people that are familiar to them. That's, we talk about Barack Obama. I'm going to say something unpopular right now. We talk about Barack Obama. I'm from Chicago, so I can say this. I was not one of those, oh my God, Barack Obama is the greatest president. Do I love him? I love a lot of things that they did as a black couple and all of that. But I know, don't even talk about she's an AKA. Kamala's an AKA. But there was I had a lot of issues. He went to my church. I didn't like the way that they trampled, talk about dimming your light so someone else can shine. I hated the way that they ruined Reverend Wright's reputation. Yes. I don't have enough time in this broadcast to tell you about Reverend Wright, who arguably is one of the best preachers in the country, in the world. But they damaged his reputation just because, there was some issues with him and Barack and his preaching style and all of that. But Barack came to Trinity, my church of 23 years, when he needed to get on. And yet once the situation with Reverend Wright, and they told him, hey, you gotta diffuse yourself. You gotta cut ties with this guy. And they not only cut ties with him, but they damaged his whole entire career after that. And someone who spent all the time building up this $1 million, that was the first mega church in Chicago. And everybody went there, from Oprah Winfrey to you name it. So I got issues with that too. So I'm saying all that to say that it was this nice, young, African-American, nice looking, charismatic man, charismatic couple. And it was a lot that went on behind the scenes to get there. And then when Chicago got into trouble, we got in terms of all of these kids dying and murders, Barack didn't come back and save us. They sent us Rahm Emanuel.
So Candy, I want to get back to your picks with Kamala and Val Demings. I actually heard about Val Demings I think it was last week. So it may have popped up today, but she's actually been in the running, and she actually did an interview that I watched. And so Joe Biden more than likely is not going to run a second term.
Right.
Assuming he makes it through the first term.
Correct.
So what I'm looking at whoever he picks as vice president. This is the person that's either going to finish the first term as president, So it definitely needs to be someone that has the gravitas to be president, right? But it
Right.
also needs to be someone who can win re-election. And Kamala, unfortunately, and I know your daughter likes her, Kamala has the Hillary syndrome.
Right.
And that is that even Democrats don't like her. And that's partly what led to Mrs. Clinton losing. And I would be willing, if I was a betting person, to say that if Kamala was his vice presidential nominee and he won, they won, and then she ran for re-election, that she would not get re-elected the same as Hillary did not get elected.
Well, I mean, and I feel the same way about Val Demings as in that regard. But I tell you what, I don't agree with that if it was Elizabeth Warren. I believe they could actually see Elizabeth Warren as president before they would see either one of those guys as president. So he's got a tough decision to make.
He needs Florida. He needs Florida.
Facts.
You don't think Elizabeth Warren could bring Florida?
No. I think that, well, let me rephrase that. I think that Elizabeth Warren would be better at bringing Florida than Kamala, because she's a Californian and they hate Californians, right? Because of Amy, because she just doesn't have that level of gravitas. As a matter of fact, most people didn't really hear of her until the hearings happened, right? And that's when she made her move. Elizabeth Warren is a known entity. She's been around for a while. She does have a very motherly kind of presence. So I think that she would probably connect with the people better than anyone else other than Val Deming, because Val Deming is from there. Val Deming, like, you ticked off her resume. Her resume is perfect. And so when we're looking at who's going to, because potentially, and we have to think about this, you're talking about someone sitting in that seat from 8 to 10 years, because if Biden doesn't make it through the first term, right, she can finish up his first term, and then she could serve, if I got my constitution right, she could serve for 8 years, because it's 2 elections that you can only have. So that would give a lot of stability. And one thing the country needs now, after this guy that's in there, is we need stability, and that would give them that. So Val Demings she brings Florida. I just keep saying it over and over again.
Danielle, who's the top pick?
Oh man, Elizabeth Warren definitely has done some good work. She, Kamala Harris, I've heard good and bad things about her. I haven't worked with her as of yet, so I have heard a little bit about Val Demings, but not as much. At this point, I really just want someone that's going to make some real change, because the problem that we have, well, first is the fact that people don't understand the elections are every 2 years, not every 4. Let's start there. Stuff needs to start on a local level. I don't know how many times we have to say this. The fact, and I'll get to Minneapolis in a minute, but Elizabeth is the second choice. Yeah, like I said, Elizabeth Warren is definitely the second choice.
Okay. Great.
But I don't understand why people do not grasp at the fact that the reason we have the situation that we have now is because we didn't do what we needed to do in 2018. We thought, okay, Brock's in there, we're good, we don't gotta worry about voting no more. Everything's gonna be great and grand and dandy. Nah, sorry, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Right. That's right. And that's what we've got to do. Put that other message up. We have got to vote. So on my very last subject, we're going to talk about George Floyd right now. So here's what I don't. So first of all, I don't know if you guys saw CNN last night.
No.
And the guy, I'm telling you, I bawled and cried like a baby. There was a guy that was a witness who also was like an MMA fighter, wrestler guy, who was a security guard, who stood outside the store. He was a security guard for the store that this all happened in front of. and he was telling the guy, he's like, look, I know you're doing this jujitsu move called a death, whatever it was. He said basically they wanted to kill him. He was crying. Everybody, I know I was crying when I saw it. It was so very sad. This guy was basically saying that was a, you know, a death move, and that the guy knew it. He said, you see the life being, you know, taken out of him. And everybody around him, this guy is telling him he can't breathe. And then, so that was my first moment that, you know, like I said, I really was crying. The second thing is I saw a video for the very first time that all this time I kept saying, why are they saying 4 officers and 5 officers? Well, somebody shot a video from the other side that a lot of us didn't see. It was 3 people on top of him. One guy was on his legs, one guy was on his middle area, and that one guy was on his neck. Because for a long time, we only saw that video coming from that one area, right? And then the other thing, the other video that they interviewed the people from the store last night. And they said that normally when a bad note or a bad $20 bill or whatever it is, he said normally the cops come out and issue a citation to the person. That is the normal course of action. And then my last point here is that when they showed the other video of the guys, I must just start with this part. We're not even gotten to the point there where these people have, you know, went to the homes of the officers and they burnt down all the the stuff in Minneapolis. But the last point was that they showed him up against the wall. He was never resisting arrest. So why is it taking them so long? And even the Mayor Frey said, I think this is murder. Amy Klobuchar came out really quickly, right, saying these guys should be arrested. I know why she did it, because of course she's keeping her name out here circulating. But Rodney, give me some thoughts on some of this stuff.
So this goes back to the typical thing. If you, and we talked about this throughout the show, you're the big, bad, angry black man that has to be taken down. I saw the multiple angles of it. I even saw the one store video, and it shows that they had him in cuffs. They are moving him around. He looked like he was in some distress, though. I couldn't quite figure out what was going on.
They had been drinking, so maybe he just was like, you know, they said he had been drinking. That was said. So maybe he was just not, you know, spry and.
Don't know if he was drinking, but everything that he did, he seemed to comply with the officers.
Absolutely.
The officers didn't initially seem to have an issue with him. Candy, if somebody gives me a $20 bill, I don't hold it up to the light. And matter of fact, I don't even know what to look for. I don't know how to tell a fake 20 from a real 20. Exactly. I get a 20 and I need to go to another store. I'll go to another store. I pass the 20 to get whatever. If they find out that it's fake, and they call the cops on me, assuming that the cops come, I'm going to be apologetic. Hey, I didn't know. Well, if they gave me a citation, I wouldn't like it. I would fight it because I'd say I didn't know. But it was not like I was purposely trying to pass counterfeit money. When you see the interview with the store owner even came out and says he was not resisting. I saw the whole thing. He was not resisting. The store owner has tape that he cannot release to the public because the police asked him not to. He says, yeah, I saw it. He wasn't resisting. He wasn't resisting at any time.
And my daughter got a fake, I think it was $50 bill or $100. And basically they were like, yeah, somebody gave you bad money. I forgot what it is that they told her. It was something crazy, but bottom line was, you know, I think even the bank at one point was like, we'll take the money from you. She's like, wait a minute, no, I need to give this back to, you know, where I got this from and get my money back. I mean, it's all kinds of different things that happen because you're passing bad money or you know, I mean, it can happen to anybody. Anybody, like you said, can give me a 20. I don't know what to look for. I don't have the PIN to check it. I'm not, you know, I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, you know. But what if he gave him a fake 20? So freaking what?
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. This is where I'm just so done with this whole situation. Dylan Roof killed 9 people in the church and got freaking Burger King. He killed 9 people in a church after they prayed for this boy.
But this man, I'm sorry, we ain't calling him no boy. But fool was 19, and why he's still breathing, I'm confused by that situation. Why Zimmerman's still breathing, I'm confused by that situation. Why I've been sitting up here doing riots. Can we take care of them situations first? Thanks. I'm just saying. But Dylan Roof had 9 people that he killed, and they took him to get dinner. So what we not going to do is sit up here and be like, well, you know, XYZ could have happened, and this is what the protocol is. You called the cops on a black man. He wasn't a short black man. You already knew how that was going to go, period, because they don't have a very good reputation. Because Minneapolis, isn't that the same place where Philando Castillo got killed at? Isn't it the same place? Okay. So they don't have a good relationship with the police any freaking way. And from what I gather, this wasn't a little black guy. This is a bigger black guy. So as soon as the cops come up, they're not even gonna ask no questions. All they're gonna do is sit up there and say that they were threatened. Again, this is the reason I can't get mad in public, because my mom was very, very nervous about that. She's like, you cannot get mad in public because they won't even ask the questions. They'll shoot first. I'm like, I know this.
And just put up a link. I just want to tell you guys what the link is so you catch on and click on it. Did we put up a link? This was in, I think it was Texas, of a guy. I'm pretty sure it was Texas, of a young man. He was on, and his grandmother comes out, and then they assault the grandmother. Yep. I mean, and they're the whole time they're saying, "Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot." And he's on the ground, and they're steadily coming. And so I really think that some kind of way we need some kind of, and I don't know, Rodney. We really need to start organizing across the country. How do we, start making some changes within these police forces that they don't do this? They don't make this aggressive behavior, where do we go? It's got to be something that we do. I don't believe we just have to sit back and hope that this is the one time that changes everything. Because
no. It is, no one time has ever changed it, just like no riot has changed it. As a matter of fact, if you want to find the poorest areas in an urban environment, you find out where the riot was, and I guarantee you, either that will be the poorest area in town, or it will be the newly gentrified area in town. So those things don't do it. This is behavior that is in the police. It is in their minds. Mm-hmm. It has a lot to do with, let's call it what it is: white supremacy and racism. That is the root cause of it, right there. And you cannot pass a law to exercise that out of somebody's psyche, out of their mind.
Right.
Now, you can teach new people. In other words, you got somebody in preschool, and you can teach them the right thing so that they grow up filtering all the wrong things through the right thing. But this is embedded in their minds from the beginning. So as much as we see these things, again, looking at history, these same things have happened throughout history, and purposely so, because that is their culture. That's why we have to call out, just like what you're saying, and what I'm doing on my page, is we have to tell white people, our allies, right? If you are our ally, why are you letting these things happen?
Right.
I do not have the power to stop your people from doing this.
But you do
have the power to do it, and you need to do it. That's what we all need to come out saying, and that's what we need to come out saying nationally.
So, Rodney, we're going to come back for final words. Don't move, but we're going to put a video up. Matter of fact, Danielle, can you put the video up on the side and have us still in here?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I want to show 2 quick videos. This is the first one that I want to send, and it's just they're both like less than a minute, but go ahead and play it.
Look, I swear to God, I'll never understand how, soon as I'm born, I'm a wanted man. Wow, a daddy gang, how they pull a man down. That was knee on my neck, and we screaming man down. But they don't want to hear it, they just act like it's a fake thing. Like we don't understand that it's an everyday thing. Imagine how many people that was raised to hate me and look at me like I'm stupid when I say I can't breathe. Tell me, do you get it? Understand what it's like to get death threats for living? Okay, I get it if you want to take a man to prison, but that's completely different than simply taking a human being away from their children. Look at how we living, scared to be us, because we can't trust police. It seems they just want to beat us. Sometimes it ain't no consequences for how they mistreat us. Like we some type of animal with stripes, no Adidas. I'm just saying, can we live? Can we live? Yeah, still got so much to give. But I'm just asking, can we live? Can we live? Yeah. Lord, I swear to God, I'll never understand.
Hold on. Let me get the other one right now. Hold on.
Wow, he must have just made that.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Both of these kids, they just did. He was 15 years old. There's the other video right there.
I got it. I know. I got it.
They're both, like I said.
I'm a young black man doing all that I can to stand. Oh, but when I look around and I see what's being done to my kind, every day I'm being hunted as prey. My people don't want no trouble. We've had enough struggle. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Well, guys, I wanted to make sure those were in the video. And then final words. Rodney, final words today?
COVID-19 put the world on pause, including the United States of America.
Right.
It will be a shame for us, especially as Black people, to come out of COVID-19 worse than we were before, or to go back to where we were before. This is like a time for reemergence, rebirth, and renewal. And so, to Candy's point, let's take this time to organize ourselves in a purposeful manner to empower ourselves so that finally we can truly take on some of these things that have been happening to us since we've been in this country. We have to learn the system, then fight the system, and do it like we've done everything else better than anybody else in the world, and be the best. And when we're the best, we will defeat the system.
And we can't sit down, guys. We got to get involved. I mean, yeah, I don't mean burn down a city necessarily, but we got to get involved. We can't just sit at home in the comfort of our own home and never ever. I mean, even this is, we're doing something right here. We're putting something in the universe. There's probably somebody that will, if not watch this today, will watch this tomorrow and be like, wow. And that's why I wanted those two videos to be in here. And my biggest plea to everyone is to make sure you take this time during COVID-19 and do something about your business, do something personal, just further your goals. I don't care if it's cleaning a closet. I've been working on my app. We've updated the whole app in the last 3 weeks. We have been working around the clock. Me, Danielle, it's a group of about 4 of us. And that's what I want. Demi has been writing a book. And Demi just did a commercial yesterday with Nissan. Get out here, get your business going. Make sure, Demi said she started a new business. She's got sunglasses. Put your link in there, Demi. You gotta come out of this, to Rodney's point, come out of this better than we enter this. That is my plea for everybody. Because guess what? Here in Vegas, they're gonna open up in June 4th. Casinos gonna open up. All these businesses are going to be open up by the end of June and July. It's going to be business as usual. Mm-hmm. You're going to be sitting around waiting and asking what happened to that second stimulus check. And they're going to say, what you talking about, Willis? And all those bills that you had, where they let y'all do those 3 months. 3 months you don't have to pay a phone bill. 3 months you don't have to pay your rent. 3 months, all that stuff is going to come due, because they didn't do a forbearance. They did a temporary forgiveness. So keep in mind, if you don't get on top of everything, don't sit around and wait for the government handout. Because that handout may never come. That is a political talking point. And as soon as they think that everything is back up and running, even if it's just halfway to capacity, y'all are not getting no more stimulus checks. Y'all not getting no more unemployment. All those little temporary dates. Keep in mind, oh yeah, we extended this payment to the end of June, to the end of July, and then they're gonna tell you they're gonna run out of money. So on that note, I want you guys to stay woke, for real, stay woke. Danielle, last point.
Oh,
thank you, Rodney, for staying in here.
Thank you. It's gonna be last point because I got a broadcast tonight, and I'm trying to contain myself because those videos just hit me for so many different reasons. First things first, if we don't start listening to what's going on with these kids, I'ma scream. Because y'all always want to talk about how the children are the future, but y'all never want to fucking listen. Sorry, because that's the problem. You never want to listen to the children when what they are saying. They are sitting there and they are literally crying out, saying, "All I want to do is live." The biggest thing that we have, and if one more person says that they're only killing us because we kill us, like we have not been out here talking about nonviolent protests, but how to decrease the violence in this city, how to decrease the violence in this country. If we have not sat up there and tried to create anti-violence programs that keep on getting destroyed, what we're not going to do is act as if we haven't been doing anything. The reason that what happened in Minneapolis is happening now is because people are tired and they're stressed out. They're already sitting up there and they can't work because of COVID-19, right? So they're already stressed out from that. And now I have friends that I'm worried for their lives because they live right near that. I can't even tell you what if something happens to them how that's gonna go for me. I'm making that very known. I'm trying to be contained in this entire situation because my heart is racing because this is no longer a game. This is something needs to change and something needs to change now. Those cops need to get locked up because they will burn that city down. I've heard that from multiple people that live there. Something needs.
Calm down. I don't want you to have a heart attack up in here. Calm down. I got
needs to change now.
Yeah, I agree. I let me tell you something. The one thing that I say, and this is going to be the last point, and we're going to close off after this, and thank all of you, Demi, Nikki, all of you guys that came in, and everybody who's going to watch after this as well and put this on my main page. But I just want to say I think we understand what is at stake here. And I think that we do. I hope the city of Minneapolis is listening. I heard Demi said they protested on the 101 freeway last night and shut the freeway down. So, I mean, which they've done that before. To Rodney's point, we've done all this before. So now we need really change. My hat is off to the University of University of Minnesota. Yeah, that they canceled that multi-million-dollar contract with the MPD, and I think that needs to happen. And those kinds of things need to happen around the country. I think money is the root of all evil, and so I'm going to leave it here because otherwise we'll be on here for another hour. Rodney, thank you so much. We got to do this again.
Yeah,
we'll get together with our internet situation and my situation. We'll be better in the next couple of days. And I just want to say this. I have a broadcast coming up next week, athletes and agents, and we're talking about how to help the athletes, how to get them some scholarships during this time because their whole life is going to be upended as well because of this COVID and what's going on in the colleges and universities. So we're going to be talking to athletes, college athletes, agents, and seeing how we can help. What do we need to do to help our athletes? All right, guys, and I'll see you guys later. And thank you again, Rodney. Thank you so much.
Before
bye-bye.
Yes. All right, before we get on out of here, to make sure that I have a broadcast coming up this evening. We're going to go a little deeper into this, but also talk about the positive things that are happening in Chicago because everybody wants to give us all the negative stuff. So we're going to be sitting down with Walter Rodriguez and AW, they've been doing drives, giving out masks, and giving out food. So we'll talk about that and also dive into a little bit of this and get a different perspective of it. So thank you all for joining. You all are amazing. Peace and blessings to you all. Make sure you guys download the Life After Sports app. Just go to Google Play or iOS, type in Life After Sports. Everything pops up. We love you. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful day. Bye.